Alright, so now that we've done the initial pass of UVs in Unfold 3D, I want to bring it into Maya and do all the organization and rescaling in Maya, just because I find it a bit easier, and this is kind of the final place of resting for this model. So I'm going to select the model and check out the UVs, and here they are. So before we start scaling anything, I want to talk about texture resolution. So we're treating this female bust as a hero character. So potentially we could get as close as her eyes on screen, like so. And right now we're considering the screen left to right, what is typically in theaters, which is about 2K. Now this is changing. There are 4K films coming out, so this will be basically a new set of challenges in the future. However, the real safe rule of thumb is that you want to have double what your screen resolution is. So if we know that we're going to get this close to her and no closer, then we want to make sure from cheek to cheek we have at least 4K worth resolution. That's a safe bet that we're going to have enough texture resolution that's going to hold up to this kind of close-up. So with that in mind, let's start organizing the UVs. So I'm going to select everything because I want to do this uniformly, so I don't want to miss anything. And I'm going to scale everything up so I can get the cheeks to cheek to be about 4K, like so. So this is a good safe bet. So if we were to put these nose to nose, this is a little bit more than 4K, which I'm happy with, because it's better to have a little bit more than less when it comes to texturing. So I'm happy with that. So from here, everything else follows. So I'm going to try to be frugal and fit as much as I can in this island. There's a bunch of ways you can do this. You can bring this in Unfold and pack it, or you can actually bring it back into you can bring it into UV layout and pack it. But for me, I just like to kind of manually do this because it's not that big a deal in Maya. And for a human character, I'm not really worried about what goes where per se, as opposed to hard surface UVs with materials to keep in mind. At this point, I'm just worried about fitting stuff in appropriately and just going through and kind of retrofitting everything the best I can. And as you may have noticed, I'm going to run into a problem here with the neck because it's a bit larger than what I've designated. In fact, this is a bit too big, so I'm just going to make each of these their own island, like so. For the neck, I'm actually going to just cut it right down the center. Down the front. And again, I'm not worried about this. In the past, traditionally I would have been, but with the invention of Mari, makes this job very easy. Like so. There we go. There's our UV, 6 tiles. And just a note, in Mari it only accepts tiles up to 10 in U, so 9 and 10. This tile here. And in V it's infinite. So I'm sure most of you guys already know that, but just to reiterate that. So from here, I just want to quickly double check the UVs with a checker grid. See that everything's working accordingly. and awesome. Now I'm not worried about orientation because I'm going to be using Paint Through tool mostly in Mari, so this is perfect for me. And just to double check again the resolution that I'm looking for, we're going to select cheek to cheek, and as you can see, from cheek to cheek we're getting that resolution in the UVs. In fact, we're getting way more because if we put them nose to nose, it's way past 4K, and we're not putting into account all this real estate here. So this is going to be good. This is going to be fine for us. So I'm happy with these UVs, and we're going to take this into Mari. I'm just going to save this as a new OBJ, bring it to Mari, and start painting. So in the next tutorial, before we actually get into painting, I'm going to go over all the steps I do before I actually lay down the paintbrush in Mari. I'm going to talk about texture reference, cleaning up texture reference, gathering texture reference, and all that for human skin. So stay tuned.